Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody say Hammerdin? You know we're going to talk about Hammerox, right? Because it makes sure you're always looking real nice. One of the best looking classes in the game. You know I used this stuff on my armor before I went live, right? And I used it on my forehead. Tyrael approves it, so what the hell? We're going to go for that. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Enjoy the video. Hammerox, big sponsor. Let's go. What's going on, guys? I want to talk to you today about the Hammerdin. So if you've ever swung by the stream, you'll know it's pretty much all I play. I'm choking up because it's too funny. It's so true. Listen, no matter what, I tried Wind Druid, I've tried Poison Nova Necromancer, I've tried Sorceress, I play Barb. Barb's real good too. Barb's real good too. All you guys that, get the Barbarian out there, you got my respect. Okay, much love to you. Every class I try, I find myself coming back to this real steel Paladin deal. And I'll tell you why. Back in the day, I used to play Sorceress. I used to play Frozen Orb. I just loved it. And I would farm Nightmare Mephi for hours, and that's what I loved about Diablo. I do a ton of that, okay? D2R rolls around. I say, hey, what the hell? I'm going to try something brand new, and I got into Paladin. It is so strong. And you're going to feel the power of a Paladin in D2R when you hit Hell difficulty. So when the game gets the hardest, you kind of start hitting cruise control with this class. It's kind of a cheat code, and I hope you guys give it a shot. Now, this particular build is a Hammerdin hybrid. So what makes it a hybrid is actually sort of a joke, but it's true. 2 skill points allows you to do so much more on this class, and we're going to get into it right now, and we'll talk about one of the pain points as we go forward, which is Wave 2 Baal. I got that all queued up for you too, so you'll see maybe it's not as difficult as people say it is. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the character and see what's up. So first and foremost, we got some stats. So all you want to do is you want to get 75 block in Hell with Holy Shield activated. Make sure you've got that. And you can dump the rest of your points into Vitality, and congrats, you're done. That's it. When it comes to gear, make sure you have all of your resistances capped. That's important because you take a lot of damage if it's not capped. So very simple, but make sure you have 75 all res or more if you can afford to get it. And again, just enough dexterity to hit 75 block, and the rest goes into Vitality, okay? That's that. Now I'm going to open the advanced stats to show you some stuff, and we'll go over the gear as well. So I do tend to do a little bit more magic finding on this guy. There is gear options you could do where you could use a Gilded Shield, a Herald of the Zakharum if you want, but I rely on the Spirit Rune Word for my offhand. But without further ado, let's talk about this advanced stats for a second. You reduce damage. This character is reducing all damage it takes by 18%, and that's achieved by using Harlequin Crest Shaco and Gothic Plate, in my opinion, the best looking. Gothic Plate Enigma. So Enigma's got damage reduced by 8%, and Shaco has 10. Put that together, you got 18. So that already is huge for the class. It has some leech you don't really care about, but with this build as is, the way that I get to play anywhere I want, I do get 302% Magic Find, which is kind of nice. I prefer to play around 300 to 350% if I can get there. But I'm not going to wear chance guards or things like that to get there because there's one stat here that's extremely important. Faster cast rate. And the faster cast rate, there's 2 points you want to hit as a Paladin. The first one is 75, and the second one is the one I enjoy the most right here, which is 125. And then lastly, there's another little thing going on here. 15% damage taken goes to mana. That's awesome because that's even less damage we have to take before we die. And so one thing that's helping us there, just really quick, is our Mercenary. And I'm choosing, as I open this guy up here, I choose Mizan. So the Act 2 Merc, but I also like the Might Aura on this guy instead of Holy Freeze. You can go either one. I prefer Might or Wave 2 Baal. And we'll get into that in just a second. So Might, Act 2 Merc is good. I've also got Andes on him. This guy happens to have a 15 IAS Jewel, increased attack speed with, I think it's 27 Fire Res, because Andariel's Visage, the helmet, if you see it's the 4th line from the bottom, it's got Fire Resist -3. That's usually -30. So that tells me there's a Fire Resist Jewel in here. I do believe it's 27 Fire Res and 15 increased attack speed. That's what I'm going with. As for the weapon, I've got an Ethereal Thresher, Insight. Insight gives me that mana regeneration, so as I'm taking damage, it goes to my mana pool. This is getting that mana back up, and life is good. Insight is so strong on Sorceress, it's also very good for Paladin, And as for the Mercenary Armor, Fortitude. Just make this guy do a ton of damage. As we get in the mess, you can see right now he's already doing 5,200 to 56 damage. 957 to 5256. So he's doing good. But as we get into the world, right, and I do a little bow action, right, CTA on swap, have a look at this. His damage goes to 10,200. He hits a crap ton. And Andariel's Visage is letting him leech some life as well. So he's got that going for him as well, so that's huge. So this guy just shreds through things, okay? Let's get back into town for a second. So that's my Mercenary, Mizan, Act 2, Might or Holy Freeze. The benefit for Holy Freeze over Might, in my opinion, is that all the mobs get slowed down. So if you don't have all the best gear in the game yet, you might want to use that to slow mobs down and let them just enjoy a little bit of hammer time as you're swirling through hammers in their face and turn them into cadavers and make them hit the wall, have a good time. So Holy Freeze, if you're not so geared, Might if you are, it'll also carry you on Baal if you like to do Baal runs for yourself or for your friends, okay? Back into the gear. I do use Heart of the Oak. Heart of the Oak is just insane. It's so strong. It does everything you want. So Hodo, you got Harlequin Crest Shaco. I use Amara's 28 all res. Again, Enigma is my chest. You got to have an Enigma on this class. Once you get Enigma on a Hammerdin, and you also get 125 FCR, it's go time. It's showtime. It's party time. You're gonna love this class. I guarantee it. Okay, it's just so good. It's so good. You got to try it. I also use Spirit because again, I want to hit that 125 FCR. I use Trangul's Claws. You could use Mage Fist as well. I just happen to use this because I want the cold res. Mage Fist, if you have the cold resistance covered and you want to regenerate some more mana, no harm, no foul, off you go. I also prefer to use Bulkatho's Wedding Band. It is a increased life total ring, so I get a little bit more tankiness using this ring, which I like. Again, I've got Little Cade Graduate's Arachnid Mesh to help me hit that 125 FCR. And I've also got a Wraith Loop rare ring, which is just 10 FCR with some life. You can see it's not that impressive of a rare ring. The class doesn't need too much, and I know, you need Enigma, I get it, but beyond that, it's really kind of easy to construct. And then I've got War Traveler Battle Boots. It's not bad, you get some strength, vitality, but you also get that magic find, and that's what I'm going for when I'm clearing Sanctuary. And then as for charms and stuff, I do have a 2014 Paladin Torch, a 2026, thank you guys in the community, you're insane, Annie. And then I've got, P-Combs, 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 and P-Combs. So you could replace this with Geeds if you want to. I do believe I've got a Geed somewhere in here. Yeah, right there. So I'll just go ahead and swap one out, doesn't matter, right? I got a Geeds to get increased magic find, bringing my total up to 338. Life is good. Things are fantastic. Okay. And then as for the small charms and stuff, it's all just magic find. So now that's how I like to play the class. I've got the bow going. Things are good. I do have the Throne of Destruction up ready to go for Wave 2 Baal. Let me explain how you're going to do that. Okay. So you hear him laughing. He's still telling the funniest joke he told 20 years ago. Life's good. I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to twirl my hammers. And now that I got a Might Merc, right? He's going to pop off once these guys drop off. So I'm going to go ahead, right? And I'm twirling the hammers, and I'm just teleporting. I'm resetting his position. And watch how fast he chunks these guys. And the reason I'm going to sit here and reposition this guy is because I want to kill these guys as they pop up, these skeletons, and I want him to just clap these dudes, okay? Akmel the Curse will take the most time. Look at this. He's just chunking them. That's all him. That's all Mizan, baby. That's that nasty Act 2 Might going. And look at him. 11,858 Might Aura got activated, as did Concentration Aura. And so we'll go through the amount of skills and stuff, and just, as a matter of fact, we'll do it right now. I was going to complete this run because, hey, habits. So let's go into the skills and the skill tree and see what's up. So Mizan is enjoying, let's see, a level 38 concentration. And it's pretty simple. Hammerdin's pretty simple, except for those two unique skill points, which we're going to go over right now. So I put a point into Holy Bolt. I max out Blessed Hammer and all of its dependencies. I put a 1 point to Smite, 1 point to Charge, and I put a lot of points in the Holy Shield. You don't have to do this. Something to consider. Holy Shield does increase the amount of smite damage you do, and this is a hybrid Hammerdin, so smite and hammers, right? You will get more smite damage if you put more points into smite actually. If you run the numbers, as you scale up smite, it does more damage than scaling up Holy Shield. But the benefit of Holy Shield is 1, more defense, and 2, increased duration. So it's a little bit more of lazy play, I'll say, more convenient quality of life, which I love. So I went for some Holy Shield. So again, 1 point to Holy Bolt, max Blessed Hammer, 1 point to Smite, 1 point to Charge, 1 point to Holy Shield to get things going. Offensive auras, you got 1 point to Might, you max out Blessed Aim because it's a dependency of Blessed Hammer, and then you max out Concentration because that's your big aura that you run, and put 1 point into Fanaticism because when you go Smiter on this, and I'll show you the Smite gear as well, the Fanaticism aura is what you're going to want to use. Another tip you could do on Wave 2 Baal, as we did just run Concentration, for Mizan, your Merc, because he's doing most of the work, and he might get hit with Decrepify, you could run Fanaticism instead of Concentration just to let him attack even faster in that situation, to sometimes clear it. It's been negligible to me, which is why I leave it on. Again, kind of lazy, but quality of life approach, all right? I just want to have a good time, listen to some music, chit-chat with people, and just play the game and enjoy. So it's nice to have options, and with this build, you'll have a few. Going into defensive auras, you put 1 point into Prayer, 1 point into Cleansing, Defiance, and then Vigor. You max out Vigor. Again, Vigor is a dependency of Blessed Hammer. And then I put some points into Resist Lightning to get my cap up. If you look, I've got 78% Lightning Res, and that's for Mephisto when I do the Ubers. You've got to have at least 300 300 resistance to lightning when you're fighting Uber Mephi, and we get that with this last point here, Salvation. So Salvation and Fanaticism are really the only two skills you really have to invest in to become a hybrid Hammerdin. Salvation is only for Uber Mephisto. And so I'll show you that gameplay footage now. Here you can see we're taking down the mini Ubers. They're not that bad. Duriel's pretty much a joke. He goes down easy peasy lemon squeezy. When we get into Lilith here, you can see Lilith is going down again, pretty simply. We rely on Dracul's Grasp here, and we'll go through the gear. We'll go through the gear after we talk about this section. But Dracul's Grasp just gives you that life tap proc that keeps you so healthy when you're doing this encounter. And then you have Azul, which is again kind of a pushover. He's kind of a pushover. Very easy. And then here you can finally see we run by that second flame there, and now we're pulling Mephisto. And Mephisto, we have our Salvation aura up, and so we're completely, we don't even have Fade proc here. We're completely ready to go resistance-wise for Mephi, and he just goes down pretty smooth, right? And our Merc is up too, which is great. And then we get out of there, we cleanse ourselves, we move on over to Chocolate Lips himself, we give him that sweet chin music, bust him up a little bit.
My brothers will not have died in vain.
And then, you know, it's party time and off to Diablo, and we get ourselves a torch. And I have not ID'd that torch because I am a scumbag, but there you go. So that's what Salvation lets you do. It makes that Mephisto encounter so damn easy, and that's great, right? And so Salvation for Mephi, and then Fanaticism for the other two. And anytime you're in smite mode, you're in go mode, right? That real Steel Paladin deal, deep in the dark, shining super bright because you're playing some of the best looking character ever made. Make sure Fanaticism on everything else when you're smiting, and then Salvation for Uber Mephi, okay? And let's go over the gear real quick. I'll just show you. Got to toss that on so we look real nice. This is what the Smiter gear looks like. So I've shown you the Hammerdin side, and on swap, it is a CTA. I'm using a 653 CTA with another just whatever shield for swap because we want the +2 skills to increase the level of battle orders, which gives us health and mana, okay? So CTA shield on swap, which is pretty typical, and then Hodo and Spirit for the main, for Hammerdin. Now let's talk about Smiter package here. You can use Dracul's Grasp if you don't have an Exile shield. Exile is the go-to, quintessential, probably the best ethereal shield you're going to use for smiting. But if you don't have that, you can rely on Dracul's Grasp because it has a 5% chance to cast level 10 life tap when striking, and you strike really fast, especially when you have that Fanaticism. That helps a lot. If you do have an Exile, you can start to use Lang of Hands Bramble Mitts to get some more damage to demons, which the prime evils are, when you're torch running or killing DClone, things like that. I'll show you this video right here. You can see how fast DClone dies. I run DClone for people for free. If you guys are ever in a situation where you need DClone slap, but you don't have a smiter to do it, hop on over to the stream, twitch.tv/barricadettv, and I'll ruin this guy. I'll bust both his kneecaps for you. Easy peasy, right? Get yourself a little blueberry for free. We don't charge friends around here. If you need that done, come on over. We'd love to see it, and we'll beat the crap out of that guy for you. It's our pleasure, okay? So if you have Exile, boom, toss on some Lang of Hands. As for a helmet, I use G-Face. I use G-Face with a 15 IAS just to get even more attack speed. I do use Gore Riders as my boots. As for belts, when you're doing the mini Ubers, you're going to want to use String of Ears. You really don't need to use T-Gods until you're fighting Mephi. This is a belt you'd use when you're in Ubers. Again, you want to have some Lightning Absorb. It helps a bunch. Yeah, just go with this belt. When you're absorbing lightning damage, Mephi cannot one-shot you. You want to avoid that one-shot charge bolt situation that has taken so many hardcore lives. You hate to see it, you know? But yeah, T-Gods for Mephi, Salvation for Mephi. And then you have String of Ears for the minis, mini Ubers. I call them mini Ubers. That's Lilith, Izzy, and J-Lo. Okay, J-Lo being Duriel. Slap that butt. Okay, armor. I was using Enigma the whole time just to navigate around quickly. You could use the Nauseous Puzzler if you don't have Enigma, and if you do have Nauseous Puzzler, you could try to use Fortitude because Fortitude gives you a ton of damage, 300% more. So it's kind of nuts. Fortitude's also a solid choice for a body armor. As for amulets, I prefer to use High Lords again. A lot of lightning resist. It's also +1 skills and increased attack speed, so that helps. You could use a metal grid amulet if you want. That's a very good amulet. I don't currently have one, and that's okay. Again, I like High Lords. As for rings, when you're doing Ubers or smiting, Wisp Projector, again, from Mephisto, you want that lightning absorb. You've also got a Raven Frost, so you can't be chilled. You want to have some effect when you're smiting that prevents you from being chilled. I like Raven Frost, but you could also use a Cham or Cameroon, depending on how you pronounce it. As for weapons, I was using a Grief Phase Blade, 39 increased attack speed, 344. The damage can go up to 400, so this was quite a low Grief, and that's okay. It just shows you how strong Grief is. You could also use a Last Wish if you want to. Last Wish does so much for you. Last Wish will give you Fade. It'll give you Life Tap. It gives you Might Aura, which is nuts. So go for that if you can afford to get a, Ja Mal, Jasser, Ja Bur, Christmas in July, whatever you want. If you can get all that, swing wildly, swing free. You pretty much own everything. You got so many high runes there. Grats. But if you can't go with this, Grief is the one you want. Black is another alternative for early ladder play. And as for my shield, I am using a Hawes, Herald of Zakarum Gilded Shield. You could up this and turn it into a Zakarum shield. I never do. It's not required. And you will do more damage. The defense of your shield does add to your smite damage, so the higher the defense, the better. Which is why in an Exile base, most people prefer an Ethereal Vortex shield. It's got a ton of defense. It does a lot of damage, so it just cuts this kill time way down, and then that's your chance to survive going way up. Because things are dead. And when things are dead, Tons of loot on the floor for you to pick up and enjoy. So again, this is the hybrid Hammerdin. Very easy to play, very, very tanky, solid. The one thing I want to mention here, we didn't talk about, is a lot of people, they don't enjoy the hammer pattern actually. So I'm going to send a couple into space here, okay? So let's go. So the hammer pattern, right? Where do you stand? This is, I'll let it rip for a second. But like, it's kind of hard to track, right? It's kind of hard to see what's going on if you've never played it before. Now, the hammers, they're actually coming out from behind the character and they're swirling out a little pattern. So every single time. So de facto positioning, stand below the target and you'll hit them. That's all that it is. Just stand below the target, like we'll come up here, right? Or you can telestomp if you have Enigma, just stand below the target and you'll hit them. Move on up, and that's it. And that's it, super simple. Just get below the target, toss those hammers in the sky, and you let these guys deal with 13,000 damage or 14, 15,000, depending on how high you can get it. After about 9 or 10, it's pretty nuts. And this class is really, really beautiful. So that's what I'd recommend. If you feel like making a comment in the chat, I read them all. I appreciate it. The hybrid Hammerdin, you don't have to make it just one spec. You can do many. So go nuts and enjoy. And tell me what you think. I think this is the real deal. Nothing feels as good as this guy. I'll show you a couple of videos of me clearing 85 zones, maybe some of the newer ones as well. And you can get a taste of Hammerdin. If you're interested, hop by the stream, leave a comment. We'd love to see it. And thanks for getting involved in what we're trying to do, which is create really powerful characters together as a community online in D2R and beyond. So again, thank you guys for checking out the video. Have a great day, and much love to you guys. Have a good one. See ya.
I am overburdened. I can't carry anymore. I need a key.